Your girl has been buying more books, so we have another haul. Ta-da! This is everything I purchased in the last couple weeks, and I'd say it's a good selection of books, don't you think? I mean, it's pretty heavy subject-wise. So I went to, where did I go? Which food book? One Ayala in Makati. In one go, I purchased 4 books, I think. Let's begin with, I did buy some books online as well. I have 2 books from Gogol. I love saying his name, Gogol. It's like saying Google with a twist. Gogol. Gogol. It also reminds me of this Black Ops Russian group organization from this TV show Nikita, which I loved. Stars, what's her name? Maggie Q. It's one of my favorite TV shows. Anyway, this has been in my reading list. If you somehow, maybe not, saw my 2025 reading list, this is included in the list. This is Dead Souls by Gogol. I think this is one of his famous works, so I really wanted to read it and find out what the hype is about. I've always have a thing with Russian literature. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I've only read from one author, Dostoevsky. The thing about Dostoevsky, and he's my standard with Russian literature, and not only does his books philosophical fiction, but there's also just a lot of depth, especially with character building. His characters are so complicated, and he just beautifully builds layers to his characters. It's like an addiction. It's like, how do you describe Russian literature? It's like a love-hate relationship where, you know, it's bad for you, but you keep coming back. It's like Sugar Rush, but it's just so enticing to read. It's just so complicated and so complex. I don't know, I just find that amazing. So I don't know if that's just Dostoevsky, but I heard that it's Russian literature in that era in general. So I'm curious to find out if that's true or not. And then I also picked up another Nikolai Gogol book. This is The Government Inspector, translated by Roger Cockrell. Who is this translated by? David Magarshak. This one, I browsed through it and I think it's a play, but this is very political. This one, on the other hand, I think this is more philosophy oriented. I actually don't know, so I guess we'll figure it out as we go along. I don't really like to read in-depth synopsis of a book that I'm about to read. Sometimes I just read like the first few sentences and then I leave it at that. Yeah, I just don't want to know exactly what I'm reading, but I still want a bit of information of what I'm reading. Now, from Russia, we are flying to France. This is also in my reading list. Again, it's so difficult to find a copy. And I don't know how I stumbled across this on Lazada. This is from overseas. I had to wait for this to arrive. But I've always wanted to read. This is also philosophical fiction. This is frequently recommended, so I'm very curious. Again, I don't know much about it. Yeah, this is Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre. I don't really read a lot of French literature. This is translated by Robert Baldick. I love this edition. This is Modern Classics. I have another one from this edition, and now it's got a friend. The only French lit that I've read is The Little Prince by Exupéry, and I don't think that's a good representation of what France can offer, so I'm really excited to check out more French literature. This is The Waves by Virginia Woolf. This is also philosophical fiction. It's about this group of friends and their different take on conquering grief. I'm really excited about this one actually. I've heard great things, and I think this is one of her famous works as well. Here you only get like the typical classics like Emma, Dracula, The Prince. Modern classics, not so much. So I'm really glad that they're finally venturing out. Good job, Fully Booked. Do you remember my story from my last vlog where I talked about seeing Nietzsche books and passing it off and only to come back the following week and they're all gone? This is one of the books that I saw that time. So when I saw it again at a different branch, I had to get it. I just have to. I want to read everything Nietzsche. I must admit, this is at the bottom of my list right now. I'm not in a hurry to read anything Nietzsche these days. But if I do find Gay Science, that's gonna be next on my reading list because I really wanted to read that. I cannot find Gay Science anywhere. The Gay Science books online are super expensive. It just doesn't make sense. I'm on the lookout for that book. If you know where to find it, let me know. By the way, this is Twilight of the Gods. No, it's Twilight of the Idols and the Antichrist. So there's 2 books in this. The next 2 items are from the same edition. One is Pre-Loved. The other is brand new. Again, another one on my reading list. Finally have a copy. I've been wanting to read this. I just can't justify buying classic books that are over 1,000 peso. So when I saw a pre-loved copy, I had to snatch it right away. I don't like the formatting of this particular edition. I mean, what? There are no line breaks here. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a hard time reading this. Anyway, this is The Trial by Franz Kafka. I haven't read anything by him, so again, so excited. Now this is brand new, and I think this is the recent book I got. No, that's a lie. No, this is the recent book that I got. But the last book that I received came from the mail, which was Nausea. Now, this one, I just found out recently. I think I saw a YouTube video where someone talked about or named this as one of his favorite books and he raved about it. So I'm like, I wonder what that's about. So I got it because I saw it. If I didn't see it at the bookstore, I wouldn't have gotten it. But I saw it, and who am I to pass up the signs? This is Nicomachean Ethics by Aristotle. You know what? When I graduated college, I only kept 2 books. Everything else I threw away. One was this book that one of my favorite professors signed. Unfortunately though, I lost those 2 books. The other one was morality, but it's a religion class, and I really enjoyed that class to the point that I kept the textbook. So on that note, I say I'm a fan, and I really want to dive back into ethics and morality. Pardon the dog barking outside. Anyway, the last book in this haul is The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. Albert Camus is such a famous author. One of his other works was The Stranger, but honestly, I'm not really interested in reading that. Instead, I'm more curious to read The Myth of Sisyphus. I think this is an essay, and you see, I finished it. I have a lot of tabs. I annotated this book. I don't know if I'm going to discuss it in this haul. I might make a separate video because I have so much to say. You know, if there's a takeaway in this book, it's literally the title, The Myth of Sisyphus. The most famous line is, let me read it to you because it's so cool. I don't know where it is though. Where is it? It's by the end. I think it's towards the end, the last paragraph. Yeah, it's towards the last paragraph. If you don't know the myth of Sisyphus, Sisyphus is a god and he committed a crime, so his punishment is to push the boulder up on the hill. As he gets to the top, it rolls back down, and he does it again. He pushes it again, and the cycle goes on, and that's basically his entire life. So this book is saying that you have to make peace with the absurd. That's how he termed it. Confusion of it all, the meaningless of life. You have to be able to accept that, to live with it. That question and that uncertainty, you're not supposed to find an answer. You have to embrace it. And that process, I would say, becomes your life itself. So if you compare that to Sisyphus, his constant pushing of the boulder, his life from the outside perspective seem meaningless because it's a cycle that never ends, but then he's accepted his reality, the meaningless of it. He made it his own. And when he embraced that, things are supposed to be bearable and livable. And he found gratification in that acceptance. Camus described it perfectly in this last paragraph. He said, each atom of that stone, the boulder, each mineral flake of that night-filled mountain in itself forms a world. The struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. And I really like that last line. A lot of readers give importance to the first sentence of the book, but this is the opposite. The last sentence carried this book. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. So no matter how meaningless life seems, you just have to imagine being happy and accepting that and making it your world and making it your own. And if you see someone doing like a routinary life, if from the outside it seems boring, how can someone live life like that, going to work, getting groceries on Sunday and then going to work again on Monday? It seems boring from the outside world, but that person has accepted his life and has made it his own. And I would say, on modern term, he romanticized his life. You know, from the outside, you can only imagine that he's happy living his life and living his boring life. So that's pretty much the essence of it. That is everything that I got. I'm pretty sure I am not gonna buy any more books. This is it, guys. I cannot anymore because I don't have any more money. So this is the book haul, and I hope you enjoyed this somehow, because I love book hauls. I love watching book hauls. It's like getting book recommendations and book ideas, and I watch a lot of these. Maybe that's why I buy a lot of books, because when they mention it and I get curious about it, I read about it a little bit, and then when I see it, I buy it. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you, or if that's your goal, you're welcome.